Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. This is FPL Insight. I'm Gianni, the FPL guy, and I'm joined by transfer insider, Mr. Dean Jones. Dean, how are you?
Hi, mate. Yeah, I'm good. The transfer window keeps turning. What we got left about 5 weeks or so. It's good. There's still quite a lot to be done, and obviously, like the latest one, Jesse Lingard to Nottingham Forest just really throws a spanner into the works, doesn't it? But also, like suddenly, is an FPL option that's going to be like, well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a good one or a bad one, but like it's an interesting one. Would you be tempted? Would you go Lingard for Forest?
After what we saw, that sort of cameo he had at West Ham for the when he moved in January, the season before last, yeah, I'll definitely be tempted. Like if the price is good, like he's coming at 6 million, like that's low. I'm just checking now.
Low.
I think I predicted 6.5 on Monday. 6 million will have some interest for sure. Like, yeah, Jesse Lingard's got pedigree, and if he fancies it, he's going to be playing for a new deal, like it's a 1-year contract. So maybe it's smart business. What did you think to the announcement and like the even the video? Like it was all quite different. I quite enjoyed it.
Did you? Yeah. I mean, look, it obviously came as a surprise to everyone. I mean, and it was all West Ham, West Ham, West Ham, and even on the day, like I was still getting messages from people involved at West Ham being like, "Well, he says we're his first choice, but he also says we need to pay him more money, and they're not going to pay him any more money, so." We might be his first choice, but he's not going to end up coming. And I was like, I don't understand this. Surely he's not signing for Nottingham Forest because they're going to give him that bit extra. But he is, and they were saying to me, they're like, oh, they're offering him a 1-year deal. And I was like, you don't hear of 1-year deals. But you know what? Maybe football is changing in this way. I guess in American sports, you see more little contracts like this happen. And it's really interesting. Maybe, do you think it's a better option on FPL at Forest, or would he have been a better option at West Ham at 6 million? I mean, probably West Ham, maybe, but
yeah, I think he would have been more though. They wouldn't have.
That's it, isn't it? He wouldn't have been 6, would he, at West Ham?
Yeah, he wouldn't. So I'd prefer Lingard 6 at Forest and probably 7 at West Ham. So
yeah, fair shout. Yeah,
I'm 1974 is not having it. He's not going to be going near Lingard by the looks of it. Guys, so many in the chat. Thank you for joining on this Friday night. Like, of course, you guys are all very familiar with the channel. Many of you, some might be new around here. And if you are, it's Mondays and Fridays at 7 p.m. Give us a thumbs up if you can. CR7 is back. And of course, if you are new, then give us a subscribe as well. CFC Blues is in the chat. Can see him. He's asking about the Jules Koundé deal. It's happening. We weren't sure about the Barcelona stuff, but it looks like Chelsea they lost out on Rafinha to Barca, but they've beaten Barca on Koundé.
Yeah, well, it was more that Sevilla were just hanging in there, just hoping the Barca offer would arrive and that somehow they've managed to open up that revenue that would make a deal possible. I mean, Chelsea were always pretty confident. I mean, let's be honest, they could have done this almost 18 months ago. Like this transfer has been a long time in the making. It's almost they've gone like through the Man United route to get Koundé to get this done. But yeah, I mean, finally we're there. It's not a done deal. Like it's not signed and delivered just yet, but I've been told to expect that announcement very soon. So yeah, Koundé will be the next piece of Tuchel's jigsaw puzzle. And I guess it's not looking too bad now. You know, Christensen and Rudiger's absence was going to be felt, particularly Rudiger, but now I've got Koulibaly and Koundé. They'll still go for one more. I think that guy that they're looking for is going to be a Premier League defender. I'm not totally sure who it is, but I've been told to think of defenders maybe at Wolves, maybe at Crystal Palace. Like this, I'm getting very
Kilman?
do you know what I was thinking? Like maybe it's a Kilman or a Cody or a. Surely they've gotten Gahey back, but yeah, maybe Kilman. Like they've been linked with Kilman before. To be fair,
and Wolves have replaced him. Well, semi-replaced him. They've brought in the lad from Burnley, haven't they?
Yeah, and
they lost Seiss, but yeah, still
they did go for Ake, and obviously they need that homegrown element too. So yeah, look out because they do plan to do one more in that area of the field.
Yeah, okay, that's very interesting. Chelsea looking for a centre back that's in the Premier League. I can't wait to see how that develops. Azim, love this. He's just subscribed. Nice hour hanging out discussing FPL. That is awesome. And
what a Friday night. What a Friday night. What more do you want?
Yeah, we've got transfers, and then we've got a differentials draft. We've got Dean's first draft of the season, and then we're also going to be looking at top 3 differentials as well as like my 15-man squad of differentials.
Yeah. I'm not going to be a laughing stock this season, Gianni.
No,
I can't be.
You're a threat, mate. You're a threat to my crown in the Chasing Green Arrows sort of internal mini league between us and a few others.
Oh, I don't know about that, but do you know what I was? So my 4-year-old had his nursery graduation today, so that's where I've been.
Amazing.
And afterwards, there's like this big like picnic thing, and I was talking to one of the dads, and he was talking about football. He goes, I'm not massively into football, but I love fantasy. Like FPL is like my thing. He goes, do you play it? I was like, play it, mate. I've got a show. Have you never seen it? So maybe he's watching right now. But so I put him onto it, and he showed me his team and stuff like that. And so I showed him my team, and it's the first person actually that's seen it. Like, I think you lot have probably seen it by now, you and a couple of others. But he was like, oh, that's a good team. And this guy, he was like, oh, mate, like I'm good. Like I'm like threatening because me and my friend were really close. Like my friend last year came in the top 1,000. I was like, the top
Decent.
1,000. He goes,
Wow.
yeah. It was like in his like, I think he was like in the Tottenham League or whatever. When he's a Tottenham fan, he came like third out of all Tottenham supporters in the world. It was like something ridiculous like that. I was like, oh yeah, get on Chasing Green Arrows, mate. Like,
yeah,
we'll help you get a little bit more edge. So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, the big reveal later on.
He can join our mini league as well, and there'll be a code later for you guys to all join our mini league. But let's talk about some big transfers that we think could happen in the not too distant. And we're going to start with a very familiar face from FPL last season in Transfernomics.
I'm not sure I'll ever stop laughing at that picture. Anyway, the first one we're going to talk about is a rumour of Emmanuel Dennis going to Nottingham Forest. Now, obviously, we've talked about Forest already and getting Jesse Lingard. Forest have made 11 signings already for next season. I've gone for medium on this transfer rumour rating. The reasons for that are there is a chance of it happening. Nottingham Forest are looking to sign another 4 players before deadline. So their aim is to sign 15 players.
They're doing a Fulham from 2 years ago.
This is mad. I don't know if even Fulham went this far.
That wasn't that high, was it? Yeah.
15. And what's your score? 23. There's like 8 left. I mean, yeah, they needed to step up. But yeah, I mean, this would be a step up. Obviously, they'll play a lot of time with 2 forwards at the moment. They definitely need a new forward. Dennis is a good buy. He's a good buy. I think you'll get him at around 20 million as well. He's told Watford he wants to go. Him and Ismail Assar, the club have even admitted it themselves this week that those 2 players want to leave. At the moment, they really haven't had many offers for either of those 2. And Dennis particularly surprised me. I'm a little bit annoyed that Fulham aren't in for him because I think he'd be a really good get for like a newly promoted team, especially, or a team that was struggling down there. But yeah, I've gone medium all round, really. Medium chance of it happening. There's definitely a possibility. And a medium terms of like, would I have him in my FPL team? Not sure. Would be one of those where if he started to show promise in those first 4 or 5 games, definitely would be considering it. Like we talked about, if you're doing your first wild card or whatever, might be one that you bring in then. You wouldn't really be starting the season with him. But yeah, really interesting one to look out for, and a player that a lot of us would like to see in FPL for next season.
Yeah, I think he'd benefit playing in a 2 up front as well. Like we saw him at Watford often playing as the central number 9, but then we saw him on the wings as well when we saw the likes of Josh King leading the line and Dennis a little bit wider. But playing in the front 2, I've always felt like would be his prime position. FPL River's got those fond memories, like I have. -2. Friend of the show, Kelly Summers, was at that game, had also captained him in the double game week, and she texted me saying, oh no. And I just knew, I was watching the game, but the Sky pictures are always more delayed. And I was like, oh no, what's he done? And literally seconds later, red card out. And I was like, oh my God, it's a double game week. And in the first 45 minutes, I think it was, or the first 60 minutes of the first game, ends up getting minus.
Days. Honestly, enjoy your summertime, everyone, because this is what we're all coming back into very soon. I've forgotten about feelings like that. And I
took a hit to get him in. It was
a lot of people did, I think, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah. Forest players feel like a trap, says Steve. Reminds me of double game weeks last year. We went Dennis, etc. Maybe Ismail Assar is an interesting one, though. We're not going to talk about him in detail. He's not on a graphic, but Dean saying Watford are looking to get rid of 2 of their prized assets, and Sarr, knowing West Ham have left lost out on Lingard. I've not read or seen or heard anything. Wouldn't surprise me if Moyes went for Sarr. He loves.
They do actually
like.
Yeah, I mean, I was asked today about alternates, and like I think we've spoken on here before about Januzaj potentially landing. Januzaj, Lingard, not a million miles apart. But yeah, Ismaila Sarr, definitely somebody on their radar. He's also on the radar of Newcastle, and actually Newcastle is the next transfer that we're going to analyse, and I think this could be directly impacted if this was to happen.
Like this one.
Nicolas Pepe is looking to get out of Arsenal. Arsenal also looking to get rid of Nicolas Pepe, and Newcastle linked. And look, I think that Pepe's move to Arsenal, they spent way too much money. He was never ever a £72 million footballer, right? Was probably literally half that. So there's that factor. But he's a good player. I've gone for mild just because I know for a fact that he's not their top pick right now. He's probably not the top 2 or 3. But the fact that he is gettable in this market means I can't rule this out. Like I'm not going for it yet. I'm not biting, but I have spoken to someone who's like, look, he needs to find a platform for next season. Like he can't hang around in this Arsenal team. He knows that they're trying to sign a player in his position. He knows he's not getting the opportunities to thrive that he needs in order to build up form. Newcastle, their ambition, the style of football they intend to play, it might be a really good fit if they can get the right sort of deal together and convince Arsenal to sell and also Pepe to make that leap. Nuclear says, I'd love this to happen mostly because I forgot about him as a professional footballer. I think there are a few in this transfer window that we might be hearing about like that in the next month or so. Suddenly names are going to crop back up.
I can't believe his price. 5.5, Dean. That's meant like last season. I think he was 9 million. The year he joined the league at 9+. Like he was on pens as well. Like I think was it Lille was out in France. He was an amazing record on penalties. He took a couple of pens at Arsenal. Like at Newcastle, was a good chance he'd be on pens. Like he'd be the main man.
Mate, he was so like in terms of like running with a ball, getting at people when he was in France. He was so good. Like he would literally run from. He scored a couple of goals, literally running from his own half, taking it past 5-6 players and sticking it away. I know people will say like Farmers League or whatever, but like it's not. It's Liga. Like you got to be pretty decent player to be playing at that level, right? Yes, it's not the Premier League, but Nicolas Pepe at 5.5, if he did join Newcastle, does suddenly become quite tempting. So let's look out for it. Like as I say, like it's not nailed on or anything like that right now. But it's a fun rumour to look out for. I think Ismaila Sarr probably ahead of him. Moussa Diaby ahead of him right now too. But yeah, let's wait and see, mate.
Yeah, Ray, you won't be getting the 70 mil you paid, but you know it's something. You'll get him off the wage bill as well. Yeah, he was 9.5 when he joined the league. That's how good he was in France. The FPL priced him at 9.5. And
he also cost 72 million. That's probably why they did it. Look, this is the last rumor that we're going to study, and Cucurella to.
Do I look like him? I get it all the time. People, but I don't think I do at all.
I mean, I don't think you look like him, but obviously there are, the facial hair,
the big eyebrows.
I've never seen your hair down, so I don't know if you've
dead straight.
Like is it dead straight? Okay, I imagined it probably was, but maybe people think this is how you look in the morning.
Looks like Joe Wicks. This guy.
He does look like Joe Wicks. Yeah. Anyway, whoever he looks like, he's Cucurella and he's hot. He's hot property, and Man City. There's no doubt they want him. Their first offer's been knocked back. They'll be back knocking on that door. Pep wants him, and he's a perfect fit, isn't he? They've let Zinchenko go now, so we're all waiting to find out like who's going to play that Man City left back, left wing, central midfielder role for them next season, and it's probably going to be this guy. And at 5 million, it's just another asset that we have to consider going to, especially if they got it done before the first day of the season, like. He would be up there with Cancelo and those likes that you'd have to consider, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 5 million for like the amount of ball he'll get in the opposing third. City I feel like letting Zinchenko guys, and coming up, we've got a differential draft. Stay tuned. We've got Dean's team reveal, and we're looking at some top 3 differentials as well as questions and answers. So keep getting your questions in. We'll be coming back to many of them. But Dean, if City let their guard down by going Zinchenko, off you go. We're in for Cucurella, very obvious. Everyone knows that. But Brighton are like, they're desperate for this guy. We're going to hold out and we're going to keep saying no till City come back with an offer we're really, really, really happy with. Or will City get to 45 million and go, that's us now, or 40 million, that's us now. But there's no plan B. Who else? They can't replace Zinchenko with anyone. And this guy's ready-made for Pep. So
the thing is, it's not that weird now to pay £50 million for the players in those positions, especially
Ben White went for 50, didn't he, from Brighton?
Ben White went. Wasn't Kyle Walker like? What did he cost when they
50.
first? Was he 50? Yeah, I thought he was. And there's been someone else too. Like that position in a team like this,
40
is so important. Yeah, and so like even if it does get up another 10, 15 million, the chances are they're still going to press the button and go through with it. Of course, Brighton are going to hold out. The thing with City is they let players go that don't want to be there and they feel can be replaced. So we've already seen that with Jesus, with Sterling, with Zinchenko. There's probably one or two others that they would let go if they really felt that those players didn't want to be there. They don't hold on to people. They'll make sure they get maximum value out of those players, though. They got decent value out of Zinchenko, to be fair, so they can reinvest that. And Cucurella, what a signing if it happens for all of us to consider too.
Yeah, FPL River, my time hasn't come yet, but 34 years
Mate, you
old.
keep playing. I've seen more photos of you on Instagram playing football than I have Cucurella recently, so you never know.
So I got some really good photos of the day, and I was like, these are too good not to spread out and put on my grid on Instagram. Like, when am I ever going to have a professional photographer take photos of me playing football? Like,
no,
ridiculous.
it's true. Yeah, that is true.
So guys, do give both Dean and I a follow on Instagram, which is probably our social media of choice. Like, you might see us more on Twitter promoting this show and stuff, but in terms of day-to-day stuff, we're on Insta.
Yeah, I don't find Twitter to be a fun place, to be honest.
Wait till the season starts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, transfer season and me on Twitter do not go hand in hand anymore. I've come off of that. Mark says Chelsea in for Premier League centre back, not Harry Maguire.
I'll take Kilman.
Yeah, but you know what? Like Harry Maguire, actually, I watched his game the other day. He played well. Like he played well, and like next season for Man United, he's going to be playing on the right side of the centre backs. It's a new position for him. I think from what I saw in the outing, like I know there's only so much you could judge it by. It was a Palace team that were under strength. But Maguire did well, and he looked composed. He scored one in the top corner at one point. I think Ten Hag will turn around Harry Maguire this season. I think we'll see a bounce back season from him. Don't think it's going to impact us for FPL, but for Harry Maguire's sake and his mental health especially, I really want to see that. Like I hate it
for England.
Yeah, and I hate it when players, like everyone just jumps in a bandwagon, like almost bully a player because of like they turn him into a meme and stuff. Like it can't be good. I don't mind it for a few weeks. Like they're footballers, they're going to have to deal with these things. But the Harry Maguire stuff's gone a bit too far. Like he's getting booed by his own fans in Australia and stuff. Like that's a bit silly, isn't it? Another player could get bullied. Yeah, Dele Alli, 5.5 million this year. Is it going to be his comeback season? There are absolutely no signs of that, are there? He's just had an absolute mare.
The open goal he missed, that's as bad as you'll see. I don't even know why he's still playing. Like I thought the deal with Spurs was something along the lines of like it was a loan with an obligation after a certain amount of games, and I don't know if he hit that threshold. But I find it bizarre that he's
I don't know.
Still going to even be at Everton next season because Frank didn't really use him in the Prem. Certainly wasn't anywhere near the 11.
Yeah. I think he needs to. Personally, I think Dele Alli needs to go abroad. Like I think he needs to find a club and get out of almost the mindset and environment that he's been in and just try and change things up and get back on track. And Everton does not seem to be the place for that because Frank Lampard is already talking about avoiding relegation next season. So that's absolutely ludicrous. But Everton do look rubbish right now.
The Chelsea centre-back stuff has got the chat and the tongues wagging, and I absolutely love it. This is great news for me as well. Chelsea, according to Dean, are going to be looking for another centre-back. Many will know that, but they are looking at in the Premier League. So we're speculating as to who that might be, and Dean will keep us updated with that as developments continue, probably Monday, so keep tuned in for that. Mm-hmm. But Fofana would be a move, wouldn't it? I mean, Rodgers has said there's a couple of the big names at Leicester that are on the market. They haven't made a signing, Leicester. They have got a lot of centre-backs, not very good ones. Like Vestergaard went there and doesn't get a game.
Yeah, he's available.
Yeah, Amati is on the bench. You know, Evans is a starter. Soyuncu isn't. Ben Mee has gone to Brentford. It's not him. But Fofana to Chelsea, he's Leicester's best centre-back. Very good player.
Yeah. I mean, Fofana, his name... I can't remember who has linked him, but I've definitely read that before. I've asked about it. No one's like said, yeah, we're banging for him or anything. But I think it's like, someone might be interested in. So that's not the worst shout in the world, FPL River. Like, I would not rule out a player like that being the one that's on Chelsea's radar.
Yeah, I would love that. Okay, guys, we're going to be moving on to check out some. Well, it's time for FPL chat. Let's check out a differential draft. We're going to look at Dean's team, and we're going to look at my top 3 differentials. But before we do anything, just stop for a second. I need you to do us all a favor. I want to know if we've got more subscribers watching than not watching. So if you currently subscribe to the channel, all you got to do, nothing right now other than hit the like button. That's all you got to do. If you don't subscribe to the channel, do not hit the like button, but hit the subscribe button. And we're going to see if we've got more subscribers watching or not. So if that subscriber number shoots up more than the like number, we know that more of you don't subscribe than do.
I like it.
So let's see where we go. But in the meantime, we're going to go into chips and tips. We'll keep an eye on those numbers. We'll let you know. Top 3 differentials. Let's talk through them. Like I had a question in the chat earlier about Luke and Dean, and yeah, it's great to mention. But let's start at Jamie Vardy. He is being so overlooked. And when we talk differentials, many would say the numbers at 5%, some at 10%. I've gone for 2 under 5 and 1 under 10. Jamie Vardy always starts the season well, and that's usually because he's fresh. Like, this is a guy that carries a lot of knocks, plays a lot of minutes, isn't getting any younger. I think he's about 34 now. He doesn't look like he's slowing down, but we're seeing him miss more and more games.
Yeah.
No surprises there. But at 9.5 million, he allows you to go freemium. And the freemium drafts we've looked at, if they involve a Son as well as your Haalands and your Salahs, it's really tough. You compromise a lot elsewhere. But Vardy allows for freemium much easier than a Son or a Kane. You save a couple of million. Knowing he starts the season well, Brentford at home's a good first fixture. Arsenal, he always scores against. And then Southampton, like Brentford and Southampton, 2 good defences for the first 3. Why aren't we looking at Jamie Vardy, ladies and gents? Is he in anyone's draft in the chat? Let us know. I think he should be. I don't know. He's probably not going to make my game week 1 draft because you can't have them all. But you could definitely look towards Jamie Vardy, couldn't you, Dean?
Yeah, I mean, last season I don't think I had Jamie Vardy at any point, but I definitely think that he is a player that you could consider. I mean, Leicester are in a weird place right now. Like, they're actually the only team in the Premier League that haven't made a signing yet, and that's not great because they saved their season, I guess, a bit towards the back end of the season. They didn't have it didn't look too bad until if you look at the table. But, you know, Vardy obviously wasn't the man that you would have hoped he was from an FPL point of view last season. This season, like, you know, he could have a big end. Like, maybe this is the beginning of the end of Jamie Vardy's career, right? And this guy doesn't really let up. Like, he's not just going to disappear and score 5 goals next season. If he's fit, he's playing, he's going to get decent numbers. 9.5 is a bit punchy, but he's as a differential. He might be one that you consider. I don't know if I'd be brave enough to throw him in from the start at 9.5, but maybe if he scored on the first day, you might be convinced that you need him on that point after. Yeah,
I'm just looking at his previous numbers. So it is a high. By the way, he's 35. He's 36 in January. But it was higher. It was priced at 10.5 last year, so he's had a big price reduction. And in years gone by, he started the season at 10 and 9. But he does deliver. Like last season, 15 goals, 3 assists. The year before that, 15 and 14. The year before that, 23 and 7, 18, 5, 22. Like, he's getting over 20 goal involvements every single season he's been in the Premier League, pretty much, other than that 14-15 season, his first. Like, silly good numbers. He's also the sort of guy that doesn't need 2-3 chances to score a goal. Like, he's so clinical, and he's often anonymous in games and then pops up with a goal, gets a 3 bonus points. He's on pens. He's fixture proof because Leicester score against good teams because they love playing on the counter. So I do think he's definitely on my watch list, and I'm not ruling it out that he won't be in my game week 1 team.
Interesting.
Yeah. We'll move on to. I was actually looking at Harvey Barnes as a cheaper way of covering Leicester, and I just thought, if you're going Leicester,
you might as well go
for the main.
What Maddison? I saw Brendan Rodgers the other day said that Maddison in the best form he's ever seen.
I thought that was weird for pre-season comment, especially because he was so good at the end of last season in the Premier League when it mattered.
Maybe
He
he's
got
just
into the
trying to like
semi-final
butter
of
him
the
up so
Europa
he
League.
doesn't leave. Maybe he's trying to butter him up or something. But
Yeah.
Madison
It was
did end the
interesting,
season
Madison.
well.
Last season, he was very vocal, wasn't he, about getting more goals and assists? And it was like, whoa, that's music to FPL managers' ears here. Madison is literally talking about the two things we need him to do in FPL. Let's look at Luca Dean. I didn't notice this mistake at all until this comment came up. Like, he looks so normal in an Everton shirt. I don't know what they were thinking selling him, but these are not the Everton fixtures below. They are the Aston Villa fixtures. So they start the season, I think. I'm just going to check that actually. The fixtures, I'm pretty sure, are Villa. But yeah, Villa start the season to Bournemouth, and then they've got Everton and Palace. Like, it's a lovely set of 3 games. And for some reason, this guy is the same price as Matt Cash, who is 21% owned. Why is Matt Cash 21% and Dean 3.8? Same price.
What?
Yeah, mental. Everyone is going for Matt Cash over. It's because people look at, they filter the FPL search by last season's points. And Matt Cash got 147 and Dean got 83, but Dean was injured a lot and he was at Everton. But Luca Dean, I mean, it's a bit of a coin toss, perhaps, but I always edge towards Dean over Cash. Like, way better assist threat than Cash. Cash, arguably better goal threat, but Luca Dean on set pieces. For me, you go Dean and 3.8%.
For me, you go Dean too, yeah. And traditionally in the game, like, he's been an asset, like you've wanted at times. At 5 million, like, you could pretty much trust him as long as he is fit, like you say, for the start of the season. Then, yeah, I feel pretty confident. I'm surprised that he's so lowly owned, for sure. Like you say, it must be the fact that people are filtering him out. He's a victim of the algorithm.
Yeah, I think he's the best 5.0 defender in the game, and there are a few very good ones. You look at Cucurella, if he goes City, will beat him to that. Trippier at Newcastle's a great 5 million asset. I think Luca Dean's better than even Trips, because I just think Villa, we know Gerrard wants his fullbacks high. Tick for FPL. We know they've strengthened in the summer. They've gone and bought Diego Carlos, who's going to be at centre back, who's very, very good. They've gone and put more money into that midfield. Like, I don't think they've got a great goalkeeper. I think there'll be a lot of clean sheets, and there's a big upside to Luca Dean. If I buy a 5 million defender, it will almost certainly be Luca Dean.
Interesting.
Yeah. The problem is the price point. You stretch yourselves to 5.5 and 6 and get the real big boys. Although, yeah, maybe I'll need to make some money saved if I'm going to get the likes of Sancho in. And Dean trolled FPL River, but you got to remember FPL River, that you've got to start a clean slate every single season. Nuclear Atoms, it's in a report from The Athletic, Gerrard mentioned he plans on making Dean more attacking this time. That's good to hear. We know from Rangers, he loves his fullbacks attacking. I love the fact we've got someone watching from Hawaii.
That is cool. That is very cool. Thanks for joining us, mate. Yeah, that's really cool.
That's on my list of places to want to go, Dean. It's probably up there on your list as well, is it?
It'd be cool, wouldn't it? Yeah. It's hard for me to get to new places now because my wife's like from California, family's in Michigan, so we always end up going back to the same couple. Not that they're bad places to go, but like need a reason to get to Hawaii.
Yeah.
What could it be? Maybe have like a FPL Fest in Hawaii. What about that?
Oh, I'd love that. FPL
Could you branch out, mate?
Yeah, I mean, if the numbers are there, I don't know if there's a huge amount of fans. We went.
Let us know, Tiger. Can you round up a load of people to come into a live show of Chasing Green Arrows in Hawaii? Maybe.
Guarantee us 100, and we might be able to.
We might do it. Yeah, still got the credit card.
I think the flights to Hawaii might be more than that anywhere else in the world, but we'll take it. Thank you very much, CH, for the nod. Guys, give us a like. Come along. Sancho, United. I mean, this isn't just about Sancho. This should be about, I guess, United attackers. Rashford, Sancho, and Martial, currently the front three starting for United. If Ronaldo doesn't make game week 1, it'll be Martial up top. Sancho, regardless, is going to be a starter, though, and he's 9.6%. Rashford is 13% owned, and Martial is currently at 5.8. Sancho's the safest because if they buy, he's the one that's still going to be a starter. If Ronaldo comes back in, he's still going to be a starter. He's looked good pre-season, Dean. You've been watching United pre-season. What do you make of him? He's playing out on the right, which is arguably his best position.
He is. I mean, Man United are just so much better at the moment. Like people say, like, well, it's only pre-season, you can't judge them. Well, you can judge them because they are playing much better and more interesting and exciting football. than they were before. And not only that, the football they play is with such purpose. There is purpose behind every single pass now at Man United. There was a point actually in that Palace friendly that I watched the other day, and they'd been building up play a long time. They'd go down one flank, and they'd get to a dead end, and like they'd turn around, put it back the other way, and then it got down to the thing. And Scott McTominay like got to the byline, and like honestly, any other time he would have just knocked it in the box and hoped someone was there. Like, and he wanted to, you could almost see him look at it. He was like, oh no, I can't do that anymore. It's to turn back on the outside of his foot. And he just laid it off. And it's like, we're just going to keep passing and moving and we're going to make something happen. And they're getting annoyed with each other if someone plays a lazy pass or a lazy layoff. It's what you want to see. Ten Hag is having a massive impact on him. And Sancho and Rashford and Martial are all benefiting so far, like massively. Yeah. They genuinely do look very good. And the other thing to bear in mind of Man United at the moment is like their confidence was on the floor last season, right? Every single player was out of form. Mm-hmm. And in pre-season, that has changed. And suddenly these players have a smile, a little bit of a swagger. They're starting to believe in themselves again. And if they can start well against Brighton, maybe they beat Brighton 3 or 4-0 Old Trafford, right? Imagine, like, I'm not like it's still a big thing. That's still quite a big claim for them to beat Brighton 3 or 4-0. I know that that's not easy, but it's possible, right? That would be game changing, and suddenly we would definitely have to be thinking about these United players. So yeah, it's tough to judge in pre-season because like taking that into a league season sometimes doesn't compute properly. But there is definite improvements here. Tiago says, what are your thoughts on Rashford versus Sancho from a Portuguese viewer? I mean, Rashford's definitely looking better, but I think you have to go. If you're going to pick one, you've got to get to Sancho because he's looking the best one. Martial's looking good too, but Sancho out of Rashford and him is probably the one.
We've seen, it's funny, isn't it? We've seen like the 4-2-3-1. We don't know if they're going to go and buy another wide forward. If they do, it's Rashford that's
Ten Hag said he has to, didn't he? He's been asked specifically about it. He was basically like, we have to. We
don't have the numbers.
Like, it's a necessity. Yeah, we don't have the number. United, they've got so many games. They have one injury and they're suddenly depleted. Like, they have to sign someone. They're going back in for Anthony. Like in the next week, they're going to try and make the offer for Anthony. So we'll see what that does. But yeah, Sancho at the moment is the guy I got my eye on.
Yeah, and his safe is secure in that team, whether they buy or not. Rashford certainly isn't. Guys, it was so good to have someone from Hawaii watching. We've also got someone in Sydney where it is 4:30 a.m.
That is unreal. What is going on?
Is that off the back of a night out?
Like back of a night out, or you've got a baby, or yeah,
you're nocturnal.
Can't sleep. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you just can't sleep at night. Maybe you just love chasing green arrows. I'm going to put it down to that. Thank you very much for tuning in. That is really cool.
And we'll try and do a fest in Sydney at some point.
But mate, did a worldwide tour at this rate. Yeah,
guys, if you are in London, 5th of August fest. Make sure you come along. Let's look at this draft because we've spoken about some of these differentials already, but this is a differential 11. All of these guys are under 10% owned. A lot of them, like the majority of them, are actually under 5%. And there's some gems in here. Like, how many of these 15 men have you got in your game week 1 squad at the moment? For me, the only one that's in my current draft, off the top of my head, is Meslier and Klaassen. I've got the 2 Leeds keepers. I think I've got Dallo in my current draft. It changes all the time. So yeah, I've got like 2 or 3 of them, but there's so many good options here. And if you want to go rogue, you want to do a little bit different in your mini league. If you're playing for mini league success over overall rank, then again, this is the sort of team you might be able to look at. So the City defenders perhaps being overlooked because of Cancelo. I get that. But let's talk about the midfielders because this is where it gets juicy. Raheem Sterling at 10 million. If Chelsea start scoring goals, he's going to be the main man, Dean.
Yep. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
good value.
Yeah, they've talked. The reason they got him is because they need to improve their goal output among their forwards. That it wasn't good enough last season, and Sterling consistently delivers goals. We don't know how he's perfectly going to settle into this Chelsea format. We're starting to get a few glimpses of it in pre-season. Obviously, their last outing didn't really go to plan, but I imagine that Sterling will fit in pretty seamlessly, to be honest. He's a really, really good footballer. He's pretty smart too. 10 million is obviously the the problem with this. If he was 1 million less, I think he would be in a lot more teams. If he was 2 million less, he'd be in everyone's team. But 10 has given everyone probably a bit too much of an ask to squeeze them in. So you've really got to be a differential team in order to get him in at the moment, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. And the Man City, we haven't spoken about some of their wide forwards this year, like Mahrez, Foden, Grealish. If Haaland's going to be getting records amounts of goals, which a lot of people think he might, then someone's going to be getting the assists. Yeah, KDB will be involved, but Foden, I think, is going to be an absolute joy this year. I think he played false nine last year. I don't think it's his best role. I think seeing him out wide, where he's got a little bit more time and a little bit more space, especially on the right-hand side, cutting in on that left foot, I'm excited to see Foden this year. And at 7.1% owned, we could be sleeping on him. I think he's a real option. Do you look at that Man City team, Dean, and think, cover that attack? If you're not going Haaland, or even if you are, go double up and go Haaland and Foden, or Haaland and Mahrez if you can.
Yeah, sure. If I didn't have Haaland, I'd definitely be getting on Foden. I mean, Foden, Grealish, Haaland is likely to be how they look to shape up that first choice attack. And Grealish has got to obviously step up, so he would be too much of a gamble at this point. Foden had a really good season. And he's just going to get better. Like, I think this could be a massive season for Phil Foden. He's a brilliant player. And at 8 million, that could turn out to be a bargain. So, yeah, Foden is probably, obviously De Bruyne and Haaland are going to be the go-tos in midfield and attack. But beyond those two, got to be Foden for me.
A lot in the chat, or a couple in the chat saying Mahrez over Foden. Guys, the reason Foden has to make it over Mahrez, because sure, on the pitch, similar numbers in terms of goals, assists, it's minutes. Pep loves Foden, and Mahrez is in 1 week. Even if he plays well, he's out the next. Minutes, 2,125 for Foden last season in the Premier League. Mahrez less than 1,500. Like, it's an additional 600 minutes there with Foden, who, by the way, was injured way more than Mahrez. He missed a big chunk at the start of the season through injury. So you go Foden for minutes for sure for me. Like, it's not even a contest. What 3 players would you guys all go for? Like, pick 3 from here. We picked out on the last slide. We had Sancho and Luke Dean. We had Vardy. Who would be the 3 differentials you might be considering? Azim's said Meslier, Robertson, and Callum Wilson. Like, when he's fit, Dean, 3.5% owned, 7.5 is a good price for Wilson, because he's just got an amazing eye for goal. Like, he doesn't need loads of shots to score. He's clinical.
Yeah, at the moment that looks like a good pick. Let's see. Like, if Newcastle, they're obviously trying to sign a striker before the window is up. So we'll have to see. Like, if they get the level of striker they want, then he won't be the first choice. That's going to be a problem. But I mean, we're a couple of weeks away from the start of the season now, and they haven't really made any breakthrough at all. So think back to what I said about 2 or 3 weeks ago. They want Calvert-Lewin. Like, they haven't really made that move yet. Like, they know it's going to be expensive. They're trying to figure out what they would go to and these sorts of things. They've got a couple of backup options too if it doesn't work out. I mean, I'm 90% sure Newcastle will sign a new striker. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Like, is it Calvert-Lewin, or is it someone not quite on his level that Callum Wilson can keep out the team? I mean, Eddie Howe's going to give him opportunity, no doubt about it. Like, Wilson will still have a chance to be starting games for Newcastle. But he's not the shoe-in that he looks right now, possibly.
Guys, good to see so many in the chat. Tala, Sean, Punter, River, Ben, Colm, John. Thank you all for being with us tonight. We have got 20 minutes left. Do not go anywhere, because we're going to be answering your questions in quick fire fashion. There's a very good chance if you put a question in the chat, we will be answering it in the next 20 minutes. So let's have a look at some of these in quick fire fashion. Georgios, by the way, Wilson, Robbo, Foden, love that. And Robertson, many of us thought Robertson was the way to go at the start of pre-season, and he's sort of, as we all go from big at the back to maybe getting a few more attackers in our team, Robertson seems to be the name that's falling out a lot of teams, mine included. Havertz, Vardy, Sancho, says Punter. Nice. Oh, love that home sky. Sterling, you're taking a bit of a punt there, but I like it. Like, high risk, high reward with Sterling. FPL River likes to look at Wilson and Sterling and Robertson. There's some big... The point is, there are some big names here. Like, even on the bench, we've not spoken about Dalot. 4.5 million, he's going to be bombing forward. If ever there was a fullback that wasn't a Ten Hag player, it was Wan-Bissaka. Dalot is nailed. Let's check out Dean's team, and then we're going to do some quickfire questions. Dean, this is your first team reveal of the season.
Get ready, everyone.
How's it
Get
looking?
ready. Well, this is where we're at the moment, mate. So I've managed to get Salah, Son, Haaland, and Jesus in.
Nice.
And I don't feel like I've given up too much because I've still got Trent in there. I've got Reece James. Like, they were two defenders I wanted the most. Martinelli and Bailey, I feel like to start the season, like Bailey, we'll see. Like, I'm not convinced that he's still going to be there. And Martinelli, to be fair, could be someone else. But as of right now, this is probably how I would go in. I mean,
I like it.
It's certainly better than how I ended last season. So no one can argue there. FPL River straight in with where's the Fulham players? Nowhere near my team, mate. I support Fulham, but I don't want them to be my downfall in FPL. There is no chance. I mean, I got Andreas Pereira on the bench. There you go. Look, he's there. He's a Fulham player. Fulham were beaten like 5-1 by Benfica at the weekend, and we got a lot of work to do. I actually I spoke to someone at Fulham today, and it's like a very good source of everyone's panicking. They're like, we literally need 4 defenders and a goalkeeper. And I said to this guy, is like, as I say, very reliable. I was like, can you give me some optimism here? Like, can you just assure me that like some stuff is in the pipeline? Because this, I do try to defend Fulham, but if there's nothing in the pipeline, I might have to jump on this bandwagon because we're going to get an absolute pasting.
Yeah.
And he's like, yep, like definitely be optimistic. It's really hard to do the type of business that we're trying to do right now. I think basically they're trying to now get players with Premier League experience. You've seen links with like Issa Diop and people like that. Yeah. And the problem when you do that is that the clubs hike up the price and they'll push you down to the wire, basically, and a lot of Fulham's business will probably end up going out to deadline day, which is a massive problem because it's cost you the first few weeks of the season. Yeah. Shouldn't really be in this situation, I'll be totally honest. Like, I can't totally defend Fulham there. But anyway, that's the reason why I'm definitely not touching Fulham at the moment. Punter says I need Cancelo in for sure. What do you think, mate? What's your first assessment of my team? Like,
I like it a lot.
What's the weakness?
Cancelo is the big loss. I think Punter's got a point there, but something has to give. And you could move Martinelli down to a 4.5 and try and get Cancelo in there. But then Perisic is a good shout. I like the team a lot. I think 4-4-2 might be the way to go as well. I think I could be looking at a 4-4-2. Bailey's a great shout. It's a good team. Guys, what do you think? Like, let's give Dean out of a 10. Genuinely, I think this, just put a number in the chat. What's your rating out of 10 for Dean? I love the fact it's light on the bench, knowing you're probably going to wildcard fairly early because we've got the extra chip. There's no point in going big on the bench. I'm going to give this team an 8. Maybe a 9. Yeah, I'm going to give it an 8. I'm going to give it an 8.
Don't give me too much credit. There's definitely work to be done.
I think I'd go Kane over Son, actually, and find the extra $500,000 will help you get Cancelo.
Would you go Kane over Son?
Yeah, I think I've been
consider that
on that. I just looked at Kane's pre-season form, and he looks so sharp. Again, he's another one like Vardy.
I've taken my eye off that a little bit. 6. Someone's giving me a 6. I'm not having that.
Outrageous.
It's not a 6 team. Come on.
I've seen a 6.6 from Keith.
It's at least a 7. I'm not having anything below that. Too many questionable starters. I mean, look.
No, they're all starters. They're all Martinelli's a starter.
At this moment, that starting 11 starts. Like Bailey, that might change before the start of the season. If it does, then I'll take him out, obviously. The bench, Patterson will play, Pereira will play. Sam Greenwood and Turner are the only 2 players out of all of them that are not playing.
Agreed.
So it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Cedric Suarez, you don't want to go there. Like, he is far from nailed. Tomiasu's first choice right back, Tierney's first choice left back. Khalid, don't. In fact, if he's in your draft, Khalid, get rid. You don't want Cedric in your team. And in the 9 with Walker and Sessegnon.
I'm not touching this. I love Ryan Sessegnon, but he's not getting my FPL.
He might play game week 1 or 2, and then everyone will
be might, but there's too much risk there for rotation. Yeah. Like, I don't trust him playing enough.
I hope he does, because everyone will buy him after game week 1, because he'll go and get a clean sheet against Southampton. But then Perisic will be back fit, and Ryan Sessegnon will be a 1 in 4 man. in terms of starts.
Exactly. And I know people say Perisic. Well, obviously, if he's not fit, I won't be picking him. But like, this is like right now. Like, I'm expecting like he will, and if he's not, then he'll be gone. Like this team, to be fair, was picked a week ago. I haven't updated it this week.
Mate, last season you're a 4 out of 10. Your team this season you're a comfortable 8.
That's being kind. I think that's being the problem is with my team, especially by the time you lot saw it. Is that so much depreciation had gone on before that point. I probably had a budget of about 96 million or something by the time we started this show, and I was
shopping in Marks and Spencer's at the end of the year. My 1.6 million budget, and you were Audi, mate.
I was scrounging outside picking up the pieces. I think, it was bad times, but obviously this time I've got to take it more serious. That is, I think that there's a couple of things to take away. I'm glad I've revealed this now, because there's definitely comments from you, like the Kane Son thing, and also a few of the people that are getting questioned by the people watching is interesting. Now, a good team. Who do you captain for the first couple of game weeks though? Well, Salah's going to be my captain against Fulham, because as I say, if this Fulham team as we're looking at right now is the team that we're starting the season with, look, we're going to lose that game 3 or 4. Like, we just will. I could be as optimistic as I like, but it's a waste of time. Like, I'm going to judge footballers on being footballers, and Salah could have a field day there. So, can't doubt that.
The beauty of freemium, you've got 3 premiums. Most teams have 2. You have an extra captaincy option each week because you've got Son when most others don't. So again, like, the captaincy question is easier for those that have got 3 premiums that haven't got 2. Guys, so many of you are watching. Thank you. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere, because in a minute we're going to be answering your questions. But before we do that, can you do all of us a favor? Can you, if you're in the chat, you know the drill, right? Likes and subscribes really help us out, because we're a small channel and we're just getting started. But we want to continue this all season, and we will be here every Monday and Friday at 7 p.m. But we can only be here if this channel is popular. So we need the thumbs up and we need the subscriptions. Thank you very much. Let's move on to some questions and answers.
Hang on. Yeah.
Take it away, Dean. Take it away.
Carl, a terrible team. The value is in defence this year. Like, the value might be in defence. You can't say it's a terrible team.
Welcome to the FPL community, mate. You can't show a draft and not get 50% backlash.
You can't say it's surely you can't call it terrible. I don't mind some criticism, but that's a bit far.
Well, Baron in the chat said, when will Jules Breach be back on the show? And guys, if you don't know, Kelly Summers, Jules Breach, these guys, they're friends of the show. Expect them to be on at some point in the not too distant. They've been on in the past and they will be on again.
Well, Jules is always on holiday these days. If anyone follows her on Insta, you'll see that Jules has been like Jamaica, Spain, all around the place with her mates. Yeah, Miami. She's had the summer of a lifetime. To be fair, she deserves it because she is the busiest woman in football. Yeah. It's unreal how her career has taken off. But the good news is that we're both friends of her, and she loves FPL, and she'll 100% be coming back on. Like, I can promise you we'll get her back.
Mate, trying to see her socially is the hardest thing ever, because it's like, oh, it's fine, we'll wait till the off season, we'll do something in the summer. No, you're just on holiday every week, so we won't do something there.
I was actually thinking I might try. I was like, oh, Fulham are playing Brighton, like it's our 3rd home game of the season. It's like, maybe I can try and grab Jules on that occasion, like maybe we can get a drink, or like even just chat for 5 minutes before. She was even recorded. So she on the Football Ramble, obviously, and it's recorded in the same studio as we record Ranks. So we're in the same studio every single week. I think I've seen her twice in like a year. Like, she's just too busy.
Yeah, love that. Okay, guys, get your questions in. We've got 15 minutes to answer them. The Newcastle United move for DCL. Where does that leave Lampard and Everton? That's a very good point. They've lost Richarlison, but do we think Dominic Calvert-Lewin will go to Newcastle, Dean?
Look, I think it's a big decision for him. If that offer comes in, say Newcastle offer £50 million for Calvert-Lewin, it's going to have to be at least that, isn't it, realistically? Then Everton have got decisions to make. They're not in a good place financially. Frank Lampard's already talking about avoiding relegation. They've been terrible in pre-season. They're not making any signings that are making you think that there's a sign of this turning around. And he's a player that's going to have big ambition and looking to turn his own career around from how it's been over the past year or so, especially a World Cup year, stuff like that to consider. And Newcastle's a good platform for a lot of players, especially at his level.
Yeah.
Basically, if Calvert-Lewin joined Newcastle, it would probably leave Lampard facing the sack, and he'd probably be favourite for the sack race, I would imagine. And it would leave Everton bang in the middle of a relegation battle again, because I just don't see how you can replace Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. Like, they were already in such a bad place. Take those two away. There's one really, really good star left in your team, and it's the goalkeeper, who's going to be facing an absolute barrage next season. Because even though they signed Tarkowski, they are still giving away so many chances. And obviously, like, they lost 4-0 to Minnesota. 4-0. Again, you can read some things in pre-season. That's one of them.
Yeah. Punter, Darwin scoring for this is so. A couple of days ago, Darwin was nowhere near any teams. We all hated him. He's now gone and scored 4 goals in a half, and people are talking about it as an FPL asset. Like, don't read too much into that FPL pre-season stuff.
Well, do you know what? So on ranks this week, we do Melon of the Week every week, and I gave it to Darwin.
Did you?
I was like, I'm really going to turn it up on this guy, because he has been a meme machine, hasn't he? Like, his finishing had been shocking. It was missed kicks. Everything was going over the bar. And I said at the end of that segment, I was like, Darwin is in such a bad place right now. I actually want him to start against Fulham on the first day of the season. That night, he scored 4 goals.
He's going to get a hat-trick against Fulham now.
Yeah, he probably will. But like, I don't believe that my comments are going to have any impact on whether or not that actually happens. Like, it's either going to happen or it's not. The thing is, I haven't actually seen these 4 goals yet, but I've read about them, and it sounds like one's a pen he's not going to be taking during the actual season. Yeah. 2 of them the keeper should have saved, and one of them was a good goal. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. And the pen, he has got a good record, 11 of 11. People have speculated he could be on pens over Salah. Not a chance. Let's go to Pep Roulette in mind. How do we feel about Mahrez as a starter? I think he'll probably start game week 1, but he probably then won't game week 2, and then he might game week 3. Like, this is a guy that starts 50% of Premier League matches. Go Foden if you want to spend 8 million. Even Grealish probably gets more starts than Mahrez, in my opinion. Tala, if Ronaldo leaves and United don't sign a number 9, Bruno at 10, sure, but Martial at 7. Martial will be the number 9. They're not being linked with number 9s either, are they, Dean? They're being linked with wide forwards. So if Ronaldo leaves, or even if he doesn't, if he's late coming back, Martial is probably going to be playing game week 1.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the moment, Ronaldo's not going to leave because there's nowhere for him to go.
No buyer.
So at the moment, I'm told to expect that Ronaldo will be staying at Man United. We'll have to see. Like, maybe he'll maybe manage to open up a door that isn't open at the moment. What I would see United doing, if Ronaldo did suddenly go somewhere, and we've seen him do this loads of times before, is they'll go for an out of contract or someone who's got 1 year left somewhere, aging forward, who's been around the block but can add some experience. Like, Man United have barely got any players in their 30s, and Ronaldo is one of like 2 or 3. All right. So if Ronaldo was to go, they'd 100% need someone in there to help guide this squad through. And Martial would obviously need some competition, but definitely Martial would be someone. He might even be someone we have to look towards anyway, to be honest. Like, he's I think he got 3 and scored in every pre-season so far, and taking his chances well too. Like, keep an eye on him for sure.
Was he wearing gloves pre-season on the tour? He's always in gloves.
He might. Do you know what? It was actually quite cold where they were. I didn't really notice because he's always got them on, but he probably was.
Always. I'm sure he will in August for the kickoff. Thoughts on Maddison instead of Vardy, says Barney. It's a way to get into that Leicester attack. So is Barnes, who I love, but Vardy is the best FPL asset for a reason. He's 9.5. Maddison is 8. If you're spending 8 on a midfielder, I like Luis Diaz. I like Kulusevski, Mount, Diaz, Foden, but Diaz has Fulham, and Dean's just told us how they need to buy players, and they want people with Premier League experience. That means they're going to be buying late in the window. Those first few games, Fulham are going to get, like, I think Liverpool go score 4 or 5 goals against them, and I want a bit of that attack in Diaz and Salah, I think.
Yeah, no, that is a fair point.
Everyone's talking about Meslier now. Oh, a few are. I think I've kind of led that chase. A few others in the community, Late Riser and Baker, also on Meslier. Raya was the big go-to goalkeeper. He's not a bad option. From all the 4.5s, it's between these two, possibly Sanchez at Brighton. Yeah, I just like the Leeds fixtures better. And I think Raya, he's going to be in a a Brentford team that aren't going to be as good as the Brentford team we saw last season. I think they'll suffer a bit with second season syndrome. Just a hunch.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're all having a guess at this point. Leeds are going to be new look too. I've watched like highlights of one game, and there was like a couple of things stood out, like Brendan Aronson. The game I watched looked really good. Like he might be one to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Leeds did look decent. This Sinistera sounds like somebody we might have to keep an eye on for FPL. He sounds like he's going to be lively. But I can't tell yet, like how many chances Leeds are going to give up. Obviously, we don't mind like Millier making saves because that's going to get us points. But like, is he going to keep any clean sheets? Like that's the thing I kind of want to analyse before definitely going with him as my goalkeeper.
Guys, keep your questions coming in. We are going to do 30-second answers if we can. So, before we do, there's 168 of you watching. I'm just looking at these numbers on YouTube. Apparently, 43 of the 168 don't currently subscribe. So if you can hit that subscribe button, that'd be amazing. Mondays and Fridays at 7 p.m. Catch us every time. So rapid fire, here we go. This one's got to be to Dean. Broja likely to stay at Chelsea? Question mark.
At the moment, it's leaning that way that he stays at Chelsea. But this could drag on even longer, in my opinion. West Ham just really struggling to get this one over the line. Everyone at Chelsea just can't agree, basically, to let this player go. Some want to hold on to him, some want him to go, and no one can agree on it. So at the moment, they're just holding tight.
Love that. Nuclear Atoms. Will the next Friday show be the preview for game week 1? Yeah, possibly it will be, Nuclear. Stay tuned. The Friday after will be the actual deadline. So we might move that to the day or two
Probably
before.
be the day before, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mark, will Anthony be joining Man United? What price? Okay. Yeah. We know they're linked. What sort of price would we be looking at for Anthony? 50 mil plus, or
yeah,
would they get for less?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen what Ajax are doing, and like Ajax know that they're expecting to come in the next week and like make an offer for him. They're going to want £50 million. It's as simple as that. What's that going to translate to in FPL? Tough to say. I mean, we were just talking earlier about like Nicolas Pepe and like his potential price. Like, was it 5.5 or something? And you got Jadon Sancho at 7.5. You got Raheem Sterling at 10. I'd say, well, Anthony's not going to be a 10, maybe an 8, maybe go 7.5, 8, something like that. I'd probably think you'll probably be looking at something like that.
Harry Dawson, draft so far, Diaz, Son, KDB in mid with Jesus up front, go against template apart from defenders, in my opinion. Yeah, that is against the template, Harry. I think KDB, we're probably sleeping on him. Like we've seen in pre-season. Yeah. KDB, as he's got a little bit older, I think Pep's going to look at him and go, number 10, free roll, save your energy, don't be tracking back as much. And we saw at the end of last season, after a long season, Pep went, just stay higher up the pitch. And he went and he absolutely banged from like game week 30 to 38. Yeah. I like it. Yep. Good stuff, Harry. Laura, thoughts on James Justin? He's 4.5 defender. Castagna and Ricardo Pereira, also 4.5. 2 from 3 will start. For me, James Justin can play either side. He's one of Brendan Rodgers' favourite players. If he's fit, he plays either in a back 5 at one of the centre backs or wing back, or in a back 4 as full back. Like whatever the formation, James Justin seems to be a favourite, Dean.
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely not even considered him, but it is somebody that definitely we should be considering as one of our squad players, without doubt. Like it's a good shout, Lauren, definitely.
Never give up FPL. Gianni, when did having 3 premiums make it easier to pick captaincy? Oh no, it definitely does. Like, okay, it might not be easier. You've got more dilemmas, but it gives you more choice. You can have a better captain each week if you have 3 premiums and if you have 2. That's just simple maths. So yeah, there you go. But if you're never sure who to go with, then that's...
Watch this show and you'll tell him.
Yeah, watch it Friday. Kane's almost locked. Who would you ditch from Salah or Haaland? If you've got to get rid of one for Kane, who'd you sell first, Salah or Haaland, Dean?
Haaland, just because of that Fulham fixture. You know, it's you can even swap it, like find a way to turn it around for week 2 somehow. But don't sleep on Salah week 1. Like if Fulham stay like this,
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Haaland didn't even start game week 1. Like I'm hoping he does. Who knows? Thoughts on Chelsea and Liverpool defence double up? Chilwell and Reece is a nice double up. I think Chilwell, with the injury he's had, needs a few weeks. I'm not convinced he'll be playing 90 each week. I don't even know if he'll be starting successive games at first with Alonso and Emerson still at the club. So Liverpool defence is way better with your Trent and your Robbo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
David, Cucurella signs for City next week. How soon would you consider him, Dean?
That is a good question, actually. Yeah, because like you can't just go into Man City and understand the philosophy from day one. Like you need to learn it. And obviously, like, if needs must, I'm sure he can do it, but he won't do it to full effect without doubt. So, yeah, I wouldn't be jumping in with him week 1, but I imagine by the time we get to like game week 5, like he's an option.
Yeah. Like that. Georgios Lastos, Diaz over Cancelo. No, the one guy. Okay, there's 2 guys at Man City that are nailed week in, week out. Other than Edison. Okay, 3: Laporte, Cancelo, and KDB. They're the 3 safest names in that Man City 11. There is no such thing as rotation risk and Cancelo, and I'm fed up of hearing it. It's okay, the Georgios Liastos. It's not your fault. People tell you this all the time that Cancelo's. He's not. He may have been 2 years ago. He hasn't been for a very long time. He's City's best player, effectively. He's safe.
Yeah,
Khaled, best 6 mil midfielder. Jesse Lingard, maybe, or Martinelli. They're up there, aren't
they? I was going to say Martinelli when you said it. Yeah, it probably is Lingard now. I mean, he's got a point to prove, right? Like he's waited a long time to play like regularly. He's got to make this move work because otherwise he's going to look a bit of an idiot. He's also hasn't he got West Ham really early on?
Oh, nice! I like that.
I'm pretty sure that Forest play West Ham pretty early. So
second game. Game week 2.
Like he'll score in that game. So I think Jesse Lingard actually is a decent option. I'm actually just looking at my draft again here and thinking what I might change, and just saying that I'm thinking, should I go for that? Should I stick Lingard in for Martinelli? Maybe.
Yeah, with the 5 sub rule, we know Martinelli. I think I'm with you. Like he's a starter, absolutely, but he's not going to ever play 90 or not much. But Lingard's a 90-minute man. Martinelli might be off at 60.
It's true. Yeah, I've just got Martinelli for now, like you said, because I think he was the best 6 in the game. That's what my budget was for. I had 11 left for 2 players, so him and Bailey came in. But yeah, those places are up for grabs, and let's see what happens with Lingard over the next week or so, and how fit he is and stuff like that.
Last question before we've got the details on our mini league and a few other bits of info for you. So stay with us. FF Scoped, best defender in the 5 million range. For me, Dean's the standout. Zinchenko at Arsenal, though, is definitely in there. And Trippier is the only other name I would add to that in terms of the obvious. And at 4.5, there's a few steals as well. We spoke about the Leicester lads. I'd also put in the 5 million rank to that list, Trippier, but also Doherty. I think Doherty is going to start the first few game weeks. Jed Spence isn't going to come straight into that 11. He's going to need time on the training ground before he plays Conte ball. So Doherty's an option.
Yeah, fair enough.
Shall we show the details for the mini league? Guys, are you in our mini league? Close to the top. We want to be on page 1 throughout the season, Dean, don't we?
Oh, mate, I don't think I'm going to be there. Yeah. I actually am under pressure this season. Yeah, I don't know how you do it. Like you've always said, you have sleepless nights, and now I get it. I'm determined not to get to that point.
Oh, mate, I won't let you.
How are you going to balance that? So obviously, this is your first season with a child. Like, how have you coped so far? Is it going to affect your FPL?
Yeah, probably, but I think I'll enjoy it more. The pressure will be eased because I'll be like, I'll have a reality check and go, no, it's more important that I
must feed my child,
time with my daughter. So yeah, it's gonna be a journey, and look, you can follow our journey because you'll be tuning in, hopefully, guys, on Mondays, on Fridays, 7 p.m. We're always here on YouTube, and look, if you subscribe, you'll always get the notifications. So before you go this evening, do hit subscribe. Great to see Croaky NFT has subscribed. CH to the 170 watching. Your EA is going to suffer if you don't get a like on the stream. I love that, CH.
CH, yeah, he's looking to get on the payroll. Nice one.
Different ways of getting these likes. I mean, I've made up all sorts of stuff tonight, but CH, that might be the best. Guys, I think that's probably it from us, but we will be back on Monday and we can't wait to see you then. So, Dean, thanks for all the incredible transfer insight. There'll be more of that on Monday. We'll have a few more tricks up our sleeves for Monday's stream. So, we'll see you then. Thanks, guys. We've been chasing green arrows. Good night.